I've had some good developments today, and then I have the day job as well. So I was like looking at the clock, going, I gotta go. But
if you gotta be late, I'm glad that's for good developments. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started. You know, I got some good news too today, but I can't share it yet. But I'll DM you something.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host, King. That's right. And we are live on a Tuesday, ready to do some podcasting. Find us everywhere that you get podcasts, you know, whatever apps you use, all that stuff. Don't forget, still got a Black Friday sale going on until I think Friday. A lot of y'all are signing up. That's dope. Go ahead and get your premium on. Get behind the paywall. See where the real shit happens. We appreciate y'all. And of course, we still have, if you're listening now, Cyber Monday sale that's still going on. Somehow Cyber Monday now extends to Tuesday. Y'all figure that out. But you can go to our Teepublic Store and get like a big percentage off of all that stuff. And we appreciate everybody that takes time out to do that. The official weapon of the show is
Taser,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball,
and bullet ball extreme. We have a guest today. We're not here by ourselves, y'all. As you probably saw from the show notes or the title or something. But we have comedian, actor, writer, a man, impressionist, lawyer. I mean,
computer murderer.
Hulk smash computer. It is my man, J-L Cauvin. What's going on, dude?
Great to be here. Thank you for having me. And just a little glimpse of the home office as we turn it into a home office. You got a caricature of me. This explains everything about me. St. Thomas More, my confirmation name. He was executed when he wouldn't grant a divorce to Henry VIII. So I always like that. Martyrdom is a key focus of my comedy career. And then you got Colin Kaepernick, and then a caricature of myself from Florida from many years ago. So,
there you go. You listen. Three Martyrs is what I see on that wall. 3 people willing to sacrifice everything for their beliefs, and that's the kind of stuff we support over here at the Black Guy Who Tips. Well, first of all, man, like I know you just finished recording your special. It's time to like promote it and all that type of stuff coming up. How did the taping go? And like I know you I think last time we talked, you were like, I'm reducing it to one show, so now we have one chance to get it right. Like I was like, man, this shit better go good. So how'd it go?
It was an A+, and it was so good that I didn't start feeling miserable again for like 7 or 8 days. Because to put it in perspective, when I did Thoughts and Prayers, Chris was there for that. You know, he opened for me in Philadelphia. When that was done, it was a similar process. And when that was done, all I felt was relief. I was like, oh, okay, I did it. Like, mission accomplished, but there was nothing left after that. It wasn't like, ooh, I did it. Oh man, it was like, it was really good, and I was proud, and I was just like, thank God I did it. I can go like nap now. Whereas with this one, it was so. There was some of it was a degree of difficulty that like created sort of a risk, but everything was hitting like a home run. Like every bit hit hard and exactly how I wanted to. And I can share this with your audience that knows me for a while. When I blew up in 2020 with my videos, I said, because the name of the special is Half Blackface. And obviously it's provocative, but there's a meaning. There's multiple meanings, both a literal meaning and a sort of broader meaning to it. But I asked you, because you had made some jokes, you know what I'm getting into. When I did that web series where I dressed up as Louis C.K., George Lopez, Gary Goldman, J.B. Smoove, obviously that's the one that would cause the most controversy. You shared jokes like when I would say something, you'd share like me as J.B. Smoove and be like, And when JL blows up, we've got the receipts. I think that was literally the tweet. And I laughed. I thought it was funny. But when I started seeing, it wasn't just, oh no, like I'm a little bit famous now, like I'm having a moment. It was some of the stuff I was getting once Sarah Cooper started blowing up, where people were like looking at me and inferring and assuming the worst of both racially and my motivations and my art. So it was like, great, another white guy stealing from a black woman. And I said, okay, what I don't need is for somebody to discover this video, because once they discover it, not that I'm not okay with it, and that's part in the special. One of the things I defend is this, not defending like I can do it. What? I was more like, I think I can do it. It was like the tone. It was a very honest, like, somebody said, that's crazy you did blackface. And the joke, but one of the lines is when I go, half blackface? Really? Like if we're at worst, it's only half blackface. So, but it's a real look. Like I talk about in the special, like, I don't want this to be a defense, and I never get into the serious thing. You know how I feel about that. Like everything's a joke, but the message is, I don't want to give license to like angry white dudes who are like, well, if JL can do it, you see what I'm talking about? And at the same time, progressives, the flip side is progressives attacking me because they don't feel as righteous ally supporting me. Like they don't get the good vibes because they look and go, I mean, I know, but if he could just look more Obama-ish, I'd feel more progressive supporting him.
Can your brother tell some jokes? Can you bring your brother out?
Exactly. So
your hair you look earlier.
So I basically got that. I asked Rod to delete that. Yeah. And I hid the videos, not because I'm not going to defend my work, but I had reached a level in social media that if that picture or that video gets shared by the right or wrong person before, now I'm literally playing defense the rest of my career or year or month or whatever. I wanted to control the narrative. So I said, let's hide it. And I said, I committed that is going to be part of my next album and special. So this special, like, I know if anybody listens to Righteous Prick, I have a high opinion of my own work. Like that is, whenever Chris Lambert compliments himself on Mundane Festival, he goes, I'm going to do a little JL right now. But it is one of those things. It's the one thing that I always kind of appreciate about Kanye is that if nobody's got your back, I don't mean you got, I mean like industry-wise, then who else can be your biggest cheerleader? Until that day when you get to where you want to be, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. And I have thought my work has ranged from good to really good, but this is it. Like, I hope it gets the platform it deserves, but if it doesn't, I will still say this is my finest work, because the first half of it is this, how many people blew up over COVID, really? Like 5, 6 in terms of comedy? Like who really had like an altering course of their life in comedy? I'm one of them. So there's a funny first half story. That's all that's that unique journey. Like, hey, this is what I've been doing the last 2 years. And then it turns on some of those comments I was getting from Sarah Cooper fans, which was like, great. Oh, a white man and a black woman's art being stolen. And I make fun of that in the special. I'm like, that was like a triple threat for a social media progressive. It's like, oh my God, he's white, she's a black woman, and he's stealing.
I'm not fact checking any of this. I don't need to Google shit. I got my boner.
Somebody at home going, fuck.
So I basically use that as the pivot. That's the pivot moment where I then say, nobody's ever really, most people don't really respect my half blackness. Like they'll acknowledge it if they have to, but like, they're like, I see your dad, I get it, but not really. And so I go through this series of stories, like the Irish kids using the N-word on my middle school basketball team, where my shooting guard was Chris Hayes, like from MSNBC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I talk about him taking a lot of charges, and it was like, I think that spoke to his progressive values. Like he was willing, you don't see a lot of sixth graders stepping in and taking charges all the time.
No, you don't.
I was like, he was like Shane Battier in sixth grade. It was crazy. But so there's these different stories. I build on this story about a spring break moment that I think I've shared before, but a spring break story where the woman was like saying racist stuff to me, and I was about to hook up with her, and then I didn't. And then I don't even want to get into that because that is one of the highlights of the whole special. But it was like, it felt like, I'll be the first one to say I don't think this comedy career has been worth it. Like there has been so much pain and sacrifice and anger that like, and some of that's my personality. I'm not like, people can be happy and do comedy, but like the way I approach it, I think is good.
If you weren't doing stand-up and you only were a lawyer, do you think you would feel that way about being a lawyer? Like, this shit ain't been worth it. I should be a partner by now or something like, like, do you think you'd still find it?
I don't think like, it's weird because I wonder, when I played sports, that's an easy place to be like, why am I not getting the time? Well, I'm going to go out and practice and just like do some work and throw an elbow. And like, there's avenues to like try and get what you want. I never, as a lawyer, I just thought like, just give me the paycheck. Like just when I get my paycheck, then I need to find something else. So comedy has gave me, I don't know. I think maybe there'd be something else, but I don't think it would be law.
So it wasn't like there's no dream level of lawyer for you where you're like,
you want to be
I look at this guy and I'm like, now that's the career to have,
I think the only way I would have felt that way, like my brother's sister-in-law is
like Benjamin Crump. I'm sorry. Like
Benjamin Crump. No. Yeah, I would be like, I can lose those cases. Why does he get to lose them? I almost posted a picture and then I deleted it. I was like, forget it. But it was a picture of like LeBron and Kyrie. And the thing like both of them on Cleveland. And I was like, this is Al Sharpton coming to Ben Crump's case to help him win the Ahmaud Arbery case.
I think that's the thing, man. I think we get along because I think shit like that like once or twice a day and go, nah.
They just don't put it out there.
So just that's done in the drafts, or I'll text a friend.
Right.
I'm just like, nah. But then every once in a while, J-L will put something out where I'm like, that was one of the ones I wouldn't have said. But like,
well, that's funny.
Somebody's gotta stand on the wall and do something that's wrong.
Right, when they're in the mentions being like, I don't agree with this. I'm just like, I'm not replying. That's J-L's
joke. The basic thing is when the special was done, I think so excited. Like I wish I could have like instantaneously edited it and produced it because I was like, I know this is what I wanted to do. Like this is the peak of my sort of comedy skills. I take it to the places that like I like to take it, but it was like crafted well. And I share a lot of like a real personal journey without it being some kind of weepy. It's all comedy. Right. It's all jokes and stories. But it was like, I felt like this was it. Like this was like so many things, the culmination of so many things. And I felt so good about it. So
I can't wait to hear it. When's it dropping, or when do you expect it to drop?
Well, I did it with Helium, which is like a comedy club chain, and they're now in the kind of content producing business. And I thought if it was just an album, I would have done it myself because I got enough of a fan base that if I do what I've been doing my whole career, I would just have like thousands of more people streaming it and buying it. So that there would be albums aren't specials. Because I was filming it for a special, I just thought, swallow your pride, partner with because someone with some connections is better, because this is a new thing. This is a different thing. You can't just be like, hey, my special's out. Like, okay, what? So I'm trying to, it's difficult, but I'm trying to sell it with the help of some people. I have one kind of a platform channel that I'm aiming for, because I think I have a better chance there than others. And it would be a dream come true to get it there. It's not Netflix, that I can say, because that's, I don't even know how that would happen. Like that's they do their own thing from what I've heard. It's like they're now so big that it's like they come to you. They don't buy things anymore. So we'll see. And the worst case scenario is I just have to put it out for, sale on Apple and whatever. But I'm so happy with it that it's like, my thing is, which I often lament on Righteous Prick, is like, I just want, if you told me, if you make this free, 10 million people will see it, I would make it free.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't think that's going to happen. Like the worst case scenario is like, I made it free. 1,100 people watched it. Like then I'm like, oh shit, I should have charged them because now it's done. But if you told me that I could do it for free, it would be because this, I just think if enough people see this and the right people see this, this is, which is the story of my career sort of, but I think this one would get me where I just can have a comedy career.
That's kind of the way the whole thing is now. It's like, I'll never forget listening to an interview with Dee Zamero on Larry Wilmore's podcast, and they're talking about, their rise, and they were like, it wasn't really about having a lot of people fucking with us. It was just the right white boy advice or some shit. Just like, it just kept being the right white dude that was like, yo, y'all kind of got something here. Why don't you come in for a meeting? And it's so weird because, comedy, especially almost all creative lanes, present like meritocracies, right? Oh, he worked the hardest. He did this, he did that. And there are some hard workers at the top. I'm not saying that these motherfuckers didn't work for it, but there's some hard workers in the middle. There's some hard workers at the bottom. There's some talented people at the middle and some talented people at the bottom. And it really is a muscle of, luck and some networking. You got to have that shit. If you don't have it, bro, it's a long, hard climb, man. But I'm glad to see, I'm glad that it went well, because I think the integrity of the work is something that you can always stand behind. Like it's not like with our podcast. I know we don't have the most listeners, but I'll never feel like, man, my podcast isn't as good as somebody with more listeners. I'm just like, no, my shit is the shit. It just ain't got, like it ain't getting them numbers. But I'm glad to see that's going good. You also talk on your podcast a lot, and we can see it about losing weight, man, with like Noom and all this stuff. I got Noom too, but I just never open it. That's the hardest part.
How is that?
Opening it to hear what they're going to tell me I can't do. So how's it been working for you?
Yeah, my goal is to be like by my birthday in April, to be like in, where my weight was in my 20s, and then just contact Noom and be like, you want to get some of this sponsorship, sponsored post money?
They pull up the JV Smooth impression. Like,
you're gonna be flexing,
I don't know.
JL gonna be flexing his abs on the grounds with them jokes.
Yes, that will be my new thing. That will be when I've sold out, when it's like I'm telling bad jokes but like flexing my pecs
with no shirt on.
Wow, he got 1 million followers on TikTok and he sucks at comedy now.
You'll be like every person on TikTok that is just like hot and then just not really saying anything that great, but it's like, but they are hot. Have you seen a hot nurse say why COVID's bad? I'm like, I'll look at them titties, sure, send it to me.
We're gonna start getting them blog posts. We're gonna start getting them pictures with JL's face belly in it. I am here for it.
The picture is all abs, but it's like what this man has to say will change everything you believe about being a lawyer. I'm like, y'all niggas looking at abs. Stop.
And I think what I should do is do some videos in January where I'm at my palest, and then in August when I'm at my darkest, do reactions to that, and then it'll just be like dark-skinned half black dude reacts to light-skinned half black dude.
Those are the best. Oh, he gonna eat that potato salad. That's how you do it. God, I hate those videos. I'm such an old man when it comes to TikTok.
No. See, sometimes I think you guys, because you are forgiving and progressive and kind people, that you you don't always, sometimes it's okay. You know, I'm the opposite. I'm always whatever they like is shit. And you kind of go always like, hey, I'm just too old. I don't get that. No. Some of that TikTok stuff is truly moronic. It's okay.
And I am here for it.
Yeah,
but I
think whenever I notice that there's an age gap, that's the part where I push back. Whenever I'm like, okay, I don't know, I'm gonna err on the side of the shit I did was stupid at that age. So like, go, it's your turn to be stupid. That's how I feel. Your turn. But yeah, sometimes there is things where you're just like, I don't even fucking get this. Like, what is the good in this?
Joke? Yes.
What is the value? And it's so funny because no matter how many times I say it on a podcast, without fucking fail, it'll happen tomorrow. One of our fans will send me some TikTok shit that is exactly what I hate. It's still, I don't know why. Like, and it's not, they're not doing it maliciously. They're like, look at this. This swim instructor talks about why racism is bad. I'm just like, I don't need this. Who needs this?
And I'm the opposite. It's hilarious because I'm like, oh, so this is like a 60-second version of what COVID does to your body. Okay, cool. I'm like, I learned something. And Roger's like, that shit ain't made for me. I'm like, I'm not reading the goddamn book.
I mean, there's some people that are creative on there. They do like sketches and fucking, they got camera angles and the motherfucking editor people that like can like hop up, be in a different set of clothes. And like those people are very impressive. Neat. But then there's just a lot of just people are lying to themselves, like they're not looking at hot people. And I'm just saying, be honest, dog. I'm on Instagram. My whole timeline is just big booty women. That's it. It's just like, oh, look at butts. If one of those women turned around and was like, guys, actually critical race there, I'd be like, unfollow. What the fuck are you doing? This is not that channel.
I didn't come here for this.
But anyway, sorry about that.
No. So I'm 55. I'm 55 pounds down in 6 months.
Wow. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think what I would say about Noom, the way I would pitch Noom is to say, okay, so you got the two women who recommended it to me were my girlfriend's sister-in-law and my sister-in-law. Now, when I watch the Noom commercials, I'm like, all right, we got this one dude with kind of big hips and a bunch of women telling me to get on Noom. And I'm like, that doesn't, the toxic masculinity weight room bro that lives within me that yearns to be free again is like, well, that is like, oh, Noom's not for me. Like, it's like, I need something maybe a little more aggressive, this is not marketed. Like, I'm not looking at this going, but then I hit a weight that was just too much that made me kind of go, I gotta, it was honestly when I hit the scale said like 320 and I was like, this wasn't 320 like 8 years ago when I was in the weight room 5 days a week, where at least I could say, oh, I'm like a power lifter. It was just like, I haven't been to the gym in 8 months. This is all garbage.
Yeah.
And I know this will sound like some BS, but I thought of Patrice O'Neill because I remember working with him, by good fortune towards the end of his life, which I didn't know at the time, but he was very big. He was a big guy, but he did have like that big belly that they tell you, that's the unhealthiest weight. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, he was 41. I'm 42. Like, who do I think there's a point in life when you're a big guy where you go, I may think I'm 27 in my head. I'm not. Right. I'm 42 and I'm doing damage with the way I'm eating and not exercising. Like, maybe I had a good reserve from being fit for a lot of my life, but you can't just be like, oh, I'll be fine. No, I may not be fine. So that just kind of scared me a little bit enough to just go, let me try everything now. Let me just and see what Noom was about. And Noom, I shouldn't say too much more because I'm like giving them free advertising right now.
Right.
But it was one of those. No, but it was one of those things where I don't absorb everything in the app and every lesson, but I think some of the things they teach you and talk about are good. And the biggest thing for me was, my mindset was, oh, I ate a piece of cheesecake with lunch. The day is ruined. I guess I'm going to get a pizza for dinner and we'll see what happens tomorrow. And then that negativity builds. Like, they really reinforce if you fuck up one day, it's just one day. Like you're not going to add 9 pounds because you ate bad one day. Just like you're not going to lose 10 pounds in one day if you're being healthy. But it just created sort of like, once I started to see the weight come off, just doing calorie counting and like limiting my snacks, not having to eliminate stuff, but limiting. And I just said, it's really working. It was one of those things like enough of these lessons and enough of the habits are working that I'm like, you know, after 3 months, I'm looking in the mirror going, I'm not where I want to be, but I see a clear difference. And then it's the positivity. It doesn't affect any other aspect of my life. Like those
just
stay
that,
very
negative. One section,
but just the fitness. And
we won't get too ahead of ourselves.
Slow the positivity train down there.
Right.
Some optimistic things. No, of course not.
Right. We're carpooling with negativity. Like you can ride shotgun positivity, but like everybody else in this car still hates life. But yeah, so it's felt very good instead of looking in the mirror and being like, what's the point? Like, look what I've done to myself. Like I used to be like, oh, ripped. And now I'm like, ugh. Now I'm way closer to where I want to be than I've been in like, 7 years. So,
Oh, that's dope, man. I think what I've learned from this is to go ahead and open the app. And so I'll try to open it up more often because I just get the update and I'm like, I probably already fucked up for the day. Anyway, let's see what's going on.
And that's the thing that I think, because that would be one of the things that I would say I had a problem with, which is once I don't eat something, like today, I've had a great day. Like I've stuck to my calories and eaten no garbage. But yesterday I was terrible. And I just had, like, before I went to bed, it's a weird thing because I'm not one of these self-help, like, hey, man, you got to, but I really went to bed just going, today was, and maybe that's a good attitude to have on a lot of things, but it's maybe I'm just starting with food. Like maybe that's the start of a happier mindset is to at least build here.
You better watch out, JL. Shotgun gonna fuck around and get a hold of that steering wheel.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the rest of the negativity does have a shotgun in the car.
Oh shit!
But the other thing for me is I remember in therapy, my therapist said that sometimes it's procrastination and certain like things like that is actually a sign of being a perfectionist. And I'm like, I'm definitely not a perfectionist. I don't give a fuck about. But then I was like, damn, that has been my hang up every time I've tried like any level of like, all right, I'm gonna do this calorie count. And I go over, I'm like, fuck it. I don't know how to calorie count. I did it wrong. I'm back to this. So yeah, that's a good attitude to have. And I definitely don't want to go out like Patrice, even though he was super famous and all the black men love him. So maybe that's the way to go out. I don't know. But I don't want to go out like that. I got things to look forward to. So I appreciate you talking about your journey on the show and here, because like I said, I definitely want to emulate it.
And you're not as tall as me, but you are tall. And I think that's another thing that actually hurts us is because the slippery slope, like when I went from like 240 to 270 around the age of 30, I had friends come up to me, friends who knew me, who said, you've been like lifting weights? Because they just thought I looked thicker.
Right. I'm like, so this is all fat, baby. This is all over.
Exactly. So if somebody had said to me, you fat piece of shit, I would have changed quicker.
we went to a Panthers game, I remember once, and we were just sitting there watching everybody. So do you like play? People. Are you like with the team? I was like, are y'all fucking serious?
Yes.
It made me think of that J-L Cauvin bit about they think every black dude's could be a bouncer at a bar. Cause it's like, this is fat. This is not like those guys out there. Those is muscles and pads. This right here is just fucking juice
and several people would ask him too. They was like, are you sure? You sure? Like, why are you out here with us?
But man, that's dope, man. I'm glad that's happening. But also, you're going on tour right now. And you are calling this your last tour, not the last stand like Damon Wayans, but I mean, I feel like you love finality. You love endings. I don't know.
He buries it, then digs it back up.
He looks forward to endings. So like this is
my comedy career right now is driving to to save Jesse from the white supremacists in Breaking Bad. That's where my comedy career is right now. Bow, bow, bow.
He's just taking cancer medicine and fucking driving, pissing in bottles like, I'm gonna save this boy.
Well, it's the reason. Obviously, I've said that a lot, and the funny thing is, when I moved to Jersey, all the threats of quitting, that really was the closest I came to quitting, because I was just like, if it's not my priority, that doesn't mean I've quit, but that is a real significant shift in what I'm doing with my life. And then those videos hit, and I was like, oh, maybe I got one more shot. What the comeback that nobody ever realized had ended in the first place. But the special to me is really, you know, a lot hinges on it. And that's it's tough to put so much pressure on something. But if I can sell that, that's very significant. And I'm going to be on in February. My episode of a big cable drama airs, and it's just a couple scenes, but it's a good thing. And I don't know if something would come from that, but I don't have any representation to like do something with that, which is frustrating, because it's like, if you have an agent or a manager, they'll be hyping that up and trying to line you up some auditions. As soon as that drops, that's when they get you. You know, just like if a special drops, you'll see a comic announce the tour like a day later, because now to build that momentum. Right. So the reason I keep talking about it like with some finality, I don't want it to be the end, but it's hard for me to get motivated after all that I just had happen. So I have a huge 2020. I get internet famous. I multiply my fan base by 40 times. I then get this audition for a show, my first ever audition. I get the part. It's a popular show. Boom. And then I record my best work ever and hope to find somebody. Now, if all that can't just get me to a decent place, like a place where I can just say, hey, I'm taking a reduction in pay, but I got enough money, and now I can be comedy full time. And now I have that time to really see, okay, what can I do if this is all I'm doing? If that doesn't happen, it's hard at 42 going on 43 in April to just go, yeah, I'm just going to keep like hoping. I'm hoping that year 20 of putting out good stuff, because now it's hard to, the thing is now people do know me, like, and it's just weird for it not to, you know, it's just psychologically, I don't know if I can keep trying to like, oh, I had a good year, and now I'm back like 7 low. Like now I'm like, not at the beginning, but like, right. I didn't fall. It's not like, oh, I went down a little bit. It's like, oh, now I have to like do something else to like blow up again. Like, when do I get to just kind of have an opportunity to be sustained?
It kind of feels like you're tired of doing the water polo paddle swim thing. You know how like when you swim, that like people think of swimming, they think of swimming like to a direction, and you're just kind of tired of like, I'm swimming hard as fuck to stay just this one place. But I'm swimming harder than the guy who's swimming like this, but you know, they're fucking going somewhere, and I'm just tired of being like this, you know. Even and I can get with that, because even with the 2020, which was huge, it's still a pandemic, and it's still like the normal momentum that comes from like being viral or something is and I mean this in the fucking definition from Webster, guys, but it retards the whole process, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, it's normally like, oh, it's going viral, bring them in for a meeting. Okay, let's do this. But everything had to be like virtual. Everything had to, and then virtual now means kind of disposable. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I like this thing, but now it's October, and you know, it's like, I'm still funny. I do other stuff. Yeah, but I was October.
Right. Like I joked, I think, on Righteous Prick recently, where it's like people go, you got me through the pandemic. And I go, okay, but do you not want to laugh anymore? Like that was only during the Right. Only during the apocalypse you need to laugh. After that, you're like, oh no, fuck comedy. I'm going back to art house drama.
It would be funny if you saw a surge every time there was a variant. You know?
Right.
Oh, yo, y'all heard about this?
I made $8,000 on YouTube this month. Thank you, Omicron.
Right. It's like you're getting the Entertainer of the Year award. You're just shouting out Delta. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you.
Beta.
You know what I'm saying? Omicron. You the real MVP.
Omega.
Oh man. So where can people go to find like what dates and places you'll be performing?
Sure. The website, not every ticket link is there yet, but my website has all the dates. You mind if I just rattle them? Oh, JLComedy.com is my website. You get every link, and everything that I do is all on that website. But it's Pittsburgh Improv, December 9th, DC Improv, December 16th to the 19th, Harrisburg Comedy Zone in Pennsylvania, January 7th and 8th, Chicago Improv, January 27th, San Jose Improv, February 2nd, Flappers in Burbank, basically LA, on February 6th. And like, I can't express, every one of these shows is like big and important, just in terms of working with these chains and obviously money going into my pocket. The more tickets I sell, the better it is. But like, you know, and then the big one that just happened today, just in terms of being able to thread this tour, like meeting. I'm going to see the Utah Jazz in Utah, February 9th, and February 11th, and February 10th, the Thursday, I got booked at the club in Utah just for that off night. Man. So I was like, perfect. So you better believe what you're going to see me doing on Twitter is like posting pictures of me in jerseys as a child, adding Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Like, guys, I know you're home because I'm going to both home games. What are you going to do on that off night?
Yeah, that's dope, man. Still, the only Black Utah Jazz fan I know, and other than Karl Malone, but we don't count him. But yeah,
well, Karl Malone and John Stockton. I joke about that in the. It's a bit that I've kind of put on YouTube, but I fleshed it out just about my parents fighting all the time. So like Malone and Stockton presented this parallel universe where I had a tall Black father and a feisty Irish American mother, but they got along with Stockton as the mom and Malone as the dad. But then you grow up and you learn about your heroes, and both very problematic on different levels. And when I tell people, I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I was 9. Their posters like are still in my childhood bedroom. I get it. Malone is very problematic, and John Stockton never said a word for 40 years, but decided to be in an anti-vax documentary. I was like, that's when you talk?
You were the first person. You were literally the first person I thought of when he did that video. I was like, oh, poor JL. Just the JL jinx.
Yeah. I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
You didn't say, you never said it. You never said anything political one way or the other. I would guess you're like you have 6 kids. You're a Catholic from like Washington State. I'm sure you're a conservative, like Chris Pratt. You know what I mean? Like you say, like, hey, okay, he's conservative. If he doesn't say anything, if he doesn't say anything either way, then I can enjoy his entertainment. He's entitled. It's a free country. He's entitled to have whatever set of beliefs get him there. But when Stockton came, I was like, you got this? You said nothing. Right. I barely know what you sound like, and I've been one of your biggest fans my whole life. And then I find out you're in an anti-vax doc.
I'm always shocked when people go that long and then fuck up. Cause like, damn, dog, like you must have really believed in this one. That's
what I'm talking about. Like if he had been like active and stuff, I was just John being John again.
Right.
But it was like this time, I know I haven't said anything since 1981, but this documentary put together by, the dude from Hercules or whatever, I have to speak on this.
He's like, listen, the power of ivermectin needs to be known. Okay. I didn't absorb all those picks and I didn't set all those picks and do all those passes for y'all not to listen to me. And it's so sad because, this happens all the time. I talk to people about ESPN and they'll go, I don't like ESPN, man. They got rid of Jamel Hill. They got rid of this, that, and the other. And I'm always like, yeah, that's true. They also got rid of the dude from the Red Sox, Kurt Schilling. They also got they ran off the conservative white dude from the I forget his name, Will something.
Will Kane.
Yeah, I was like, and let's be honest, I only want the people I agree with to be able to get on ESPN and talk that political shit. I don't really believe in the freedom of speech and shit. I'm not even gonna try to make that argument because the truth is, as soon as you start saying some dumb shit, I'm like, shut the fuck up. And that's how I felt with Stockton. Was like, that's the closest me and conservatives have ever gotten to high fiving where I was just like, shut up and dribble. What is wrong with you?
Right. That's strange.
But nah, that's dope, man. I'm glad you're gonna get to see the Jazz.
Sorry, there is one person in the chat asking. So it should appear that it's Wise Guys in Jordan Landing, which is like 20 minutes outside of downtown Salt Lake City. Just while I have the person asking,
right?
But yeah, February 10th. The ticket link should be up on their site, later this week. But yeah, all those shows, wherever you are, loyal, lovely, very supportive Black Guy Who Tips fans. Every one of those shows is important in terms of stopping it from being. Only you can prevent forest fires. Only you can stop me from retiring from comedy.
Dale's on a ledge. He's a man on a ledge, and we're all just shouting, "Don't do it! We think you're funny. Don't go." But I just want you to be happy. So if if it comes down to it, and you're like, I'm not doing this shit for the rest of my life, feeling this way, I get it, because it's like Andre 3000 retired, but then he just goes to Whole Foods and plays a flute in the parking lot. I'm like, he look happy. Do I want another album? Yes, I would like another album, but also that motherfucker looks happier than he's ever been in his life. So what am I gonna say? Put the album down and go be miserable for me? All right, I want to get into some news with you, because we definitely have some news and some segments to get into. Let me pull up my segment news here, because we got to talk about, of course, the worst coronavirus.
Again? Look, here we go again. We got variants. Really need to keep a mask on hand and follow the plan. Get the vaccine and second shots, whether woman or man. Black Guy Who Tips is doing their part, but the dummies expand. Niggas would rather believe a bunch of misinformation. Fuck y'all idiots not getting shots. Now we gotta regress. If we keep going in this direction, we never can rest. Never can get back to the lives we be living the best. Damn fool, stop the lying. Stop the intubation crying, cause it's your fault that motherfuckers dying. Damn fool, stop the lying. Stop the ventilator crying, cause it's your fault the motherfuckers dying. I do not understand this shit. I'm not a fan of this. We were like one win from the pandemic championship, but fuckers wanna leave it to game 7 with Giannis Delta Kumpo blocking forward progression and Chris middle fingers to your plans, man. Damn. Looks like it's no Drew holiday for you and your mans. I'm sick of black people dying for real, so I'm just writing this new piece to let you know how I feel. Coronavirus, fuck that COVID-19. It's unseen, it's creeping in the air for you to breathe, so fuck that COVID-19. It's unseen, it's creeping in the air for you to breathe,
This coronavirus segment is brought to you by ManScaped. That's right, it's holiday season, and you don't know what to get as a stocking stuffer. Well, today's sponsor, Manscaped, TM, has the tools to guarantee you win this year's stocking stuffer or white elephant competition. That's right, the tools for your tool. Manscaped is a leader in men's below-the-waist grooming, and they have served more than 4 million men worldwide. And if my math is correct, that's almost 8 million balls. You can get... You can get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with code TBGWT. I know it works for me.
And it works for me.
And it works for Karen. That's right. She'll like it too. And she doesn't even have balls.
No, I don't. If you got hair down there, it takes care of the business. Because I really didn't know how to use it. So Roger kind of took me through the steps. And I actually like it. And it's one of those things where it has like a guide on it. So you don't have to worry about it like nipping and cutting you or anything like that. is far enough away where it won't nip you, but it's close enough where the hair is smooth. Because it's one of those things where I ain't trying to funny. Everybody don't want to be smooth as a baby. Some people might want a landing patch. You know, however you want it, it satisfies it.
So it's got guides and all that stuff you pick, and you don't get cut. And it also comes with shampoo and conditioner. You can get the cologne. Like, there's all kinds of stuff there. They have like a whole package. It comes with like a weed whacker, which is a nose hair trimmer and ear hair trimmer, because as you get older, that hair grows in. So yeah, man, go to manscaped.com, use code TBGWT, and treat your balls. Okay, get 20% off and treat yourself. Now let's get into these people that
I would like to say one thing real quickly, though. For those of you people who were not in the chat, I felt like Kamala Harris, like you both were gone for like 10 seconds. It was like I felt like I was running the show for just a few seconds. It was only me.
Yeah, I had to get, I was at the doctor. I had to get put under. But I bet Insurrection 2 would have happened if he would have not woke up. Like, they would have been waiting at the Capitol building like this.
But then you want Kamala. It's like then you want her to go full Khaleesi.
Yes.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
Let it burn.
Bring a report 3 years from now. But these dudes are not leaving the mall. The Washington Mall will run red with racist blood.
Right. This is how I know I'm not truly progressive in that way. Because if she went full Khaleesi, I'd be like, yeah, what's the problem? Like,
I get it.
Like, we be doing this show the next day, like, okay, sure, she shouldn't have killed every person. Like, maybe there were some innocent bystanders that got shot at the plaza, but they shouldn't have had their ass out there.
The dude's flight had already arrived home in Nebraska. They didn't have to send the drone to get him there.
Yeah. I mean, they could have droned that dude, a little further away from the school.
I mean, yeah, they could have did some negotiation ahead of time versus shooting on sight. Yeah. But, I understand.
Other than that, I mean, the president is hard. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you kill an accidental white terrorist. All right. COVID. A U.S. panel backs the first of its kind COVID-19 pill from Merck. So the panel voted 13-10, which is kind of close, saying that the drug's benefits outweigh its risk, including potential birth defects if used during pregnancy. And what I think is interesting is there'll probably be people who will try this, but not the vaccine, which we don't have any record of any birth defects. But I don't, it's something about that needle. I don't know.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Unvaccinated travelers are barred from planes and trains in Canada as of today. No word on automobiles, but
I guess if it's yours, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, shout out to Canada, man. Like, I'm waiting on America to go ahead and do this, man. We got to stop fucking with these people. Like, you want to fly?
There's nothing. I hate it's. I know the right. They think it's a sign of like cowardice or something, but it's like. I love going into a place that has, New York has it, Jersey doesn't, because Jersey has too much of that stupidity.
Yeah.
To like just have hardcore rules, because there's places that I want to go like eat in, and I'm like, I don't trust everybody. Like I went to IHOP Sunday early, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm vaccinated. I had just gotten another negative test because with traveling, I just try to once a month get tested just to make sure I'm not carrying anything.
Yeah.
And I get my booster this week. But like we went in early and I ate and it was like, a third full. So I was like, okay, I'm good. And then by the time we were leaving, it was like getting full. And I was like, see, I wouldn't even come here at this time. But I miss, like, it was nice eating pancakes at like 9 a.m. on a Sunday, like just it's not my kitchen, it's not like the couch, it's like real life again. But then once it got crowded, I was like, I don't trust.
That's what
I can't trust these people.
That's what the Hornets game was like for us. Was like the concept was fine. We're triple vax, we got double mask, we're just gonna sit in our seats, we're not eating, we're not really doing shit, and then. As slowly as it fills in, you just watch everyone take their mask off. And you're like, oh, we're on a completely different page than these folks. And you're like, that guy's not vaccinated. That guy's not vaccinated. They're not. because one cough and this whole fucking thing is going to implode. And we ended up getting seats in a completely different, like, cordon off section that costs more. But I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like, I can do this, nice. But you finding that level of comfortability in a place that's not demanding vaccines is hard,
Now, is North Carolina is the Carolina arena not? Do you have to be vaccinated or tested, or there's nothing?
Nothing.
See, Utah.
The only thing is you have to wear a mask. But once again, as soon as people sit down, get some chips or something, they're like, mask off, not coming back on unless I get up and walk around.
And the people that have to be vaccinated are like the first few rows right around the place.
Yeah, the only people that have to be vaccinated are the very bottom level next to the players. Everyone has to be vaccinated, which is ridiculous. Like, then you can make the whole arena like that. You don't have to do that for just that section.
Yeah, I know Utah has, I think, vaccine or like 72-hour test and masks, because their owner is like a young, like, tech dude. I think he's Mormon, but he's like very let's just say he's definitely a never Trumper Republican if he's a Republican. Right. But I like that because it's like, in a way, it's kind of like, oh, look at that. Look at Utah. Like, look at least the basketball world in Utah being like ahead of the game. Because when they posted that at the beginning of the season, some guy was like, how do I like sell my season tickets? And then a bunch of people, it was funny, were like, I'll take them. Like,
exactly.
Like you want to, like, this idea of making vaccination, and we are so, I don't know, we could talk about this this repetitive, but it's like, it's so absurd.
Germany, dozens take illegal mystery COVID vaccine before police shut it down.
What's illegal mystery?
German police
got a question mark on it? I don't get it.
German police had to close down an unauthorized event billing itself as a vaccination center on Saturday after a doctor began administering COVID-19 vaccine shots that he had invented himself.
Oh, he gonna kill them people.
It was a snake oil,
sugar water,
snake oil salesman. Come get Dr. Johnson's medical tonic. Step right up. Yes. Let me see. You have strong arms, mister. Let me put you down for 2 shots.
You look like you got a good immune system. Come over here and let me give you a shot, sir.
The jab, which was developed without any official recognition, was being administered as a vaccination drive in north of Lübeck Airport in the north of Germany. Police said that some 50 individuals appeared to have received the shot, while over 200 more were in line.
What? But you won't get the real shots?
Well, hold up. We don't know that Germany has as much vaccine as we do.
Okay.
So it could be possible people think this is my one chance to get some vaccine.
So he lying to the people.
And they think
I see what you're saying. People are desperate to get the shot. That makes more sense.
They seized the liquid syringes and list recording who had been vaccinated that day. They should put that in quotes, as well as the personal data of those present. Now I will say, I was literally just saying on the show, how come you can't just like get your hands on some vaccine and just remix, just figure it out backwards? You know how like some producers can hear a beat and be like, that sample came from here, that sample came from here, and just remake the beat on the spot. I wonder if there's a science version of that where they can be like, paprika.
Trust, somebody got a vowel somewhere right now. They are reverse engineering that.
So yeah, man, that's scary right there. This is a huge one, and also kind of weird because it coincides with my nickname in high school. But the Gaylord Opryland restricts weekend access over the coronavirus. This is Nashville, Tennessee, which Tennessee is extremely
Tennessee and Georgia and Texas.
Yeah,
but Nashville is, I think, kind of like Austin,
right?
Like in other words, it's probably still it's leans left. It's not going to be like San Francisco left, but it's going to be like a bluish city,
right? And then the rest of the state,
red, yeah.
So they are changing their operation hours to make sure that less people can come in and at any peak time. Because of the Omicron variant and COVID and stuff. So that, you know, less people are getting to go to the Gaylord Opry, you know, for the Christmas celebration, which is sad. It's a very beautiful place, but I'm glad they're taking it seriously, you know. And these cities, it's probably like how Charlotte is in North Carolina, where it's like you probably could do this bullshit in Huntersville, but no, not here.
I just like the whenever I see articles that are like people are like very frustrated and there's fatigue, I'm always like, I don't care if somebody who hasn't done the right thing is fatigued. Like, what are you fatigued from? Not obeying the rules? Like, what? Why?
I'm fatigued with there being rules. Like,
I'm hearing about these rules that I don't obey.
Yeah.
Like, people who do the right thing could be fatigued, but it's like, I mean, you guys have made this point on the show where it's like, the combo is going to be the people who've never done anything. And then some people who are like, I've done the right thing, I'm over it. That's going to be the coalition that forms. But I only want to hear the complaints from people who've obeyed the rules and have felt restrictions, not the people who are in Florida who will tell you in 1 minute, we're just living our lives and having fun and like not being afraid. Then what are you annoyed with then?
Right.
Then what's annoying you when people mention in other states that don't like why are you complaining then? If you're if life is so good, then I guess you're good.
Right. What would be the problem?
I don't understand the complaints. You get what you want, but you're still complaining. I don't understand.
Especially if you like are I don't believe in it or I'm anti-mask because my freedom. What could you possibly have to add to the conversation? You're so far over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we have laws where like people are really enforcing like you got to wear a mask. We're not enforcing anyone to truly get vaccinated. We're using their jobs, really, not like, you know, at gunpoint you're getting. So like, what are you even talking about? You can go do all that shit. You just it's that, to me, it's the selfishness of I want to do it and I want you to like me anyway. Like, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to say, because fuck your feelings and you can't tell me what to do. But I want you to also respect me, like me, and think I'm doing something that, and it's like, you don't get to have all of that. You selfish motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Biden said that.
Oh, sorry. Because this is somewhat COVID related. Somebody said Carrie was talking about the new Spider-Man when that comes out, and that's only in theaters. And what I was looking at that, I go, if I go see that in the theater, I'll wait a couple of weeks, and then I'd probably go see it in Manhattan, where, you know, they're supposed to check your pass. Whereas in Jersey, it's all like, we highly recommend.
Right.
And I'm like, then it's on me. Like, if I'm not comfortable with that, it's on me if I get some, because I don't trust these people taking recommendations.
The way I do it is, one, I'm going to one of the like 10 a.m. showings, like or whatever, you know, like I think now they don't do 2 at 10 a.m. They do like 2 in the afternoon. So I'm doing one of those. But then two, me and Karen sit in that like there's like seats up front nobody likes. We just sit there and it's always, it doesn't matter how fucking like big the movie is, no one likes sitting up there.
No, they don't.
So we just sit there and be like, fuck it, we'll just wear the mask and be in the love seat or whatever.
And even before the pandemic, nobody liked those
seats. We just always, we kind of lucked out. We always liked those seats. So it's like, there are people like, I can't find a ticket for weeks. I'm like, what if you sit right there? Fuck that shit, man. I'm like, all right. But I'm not sitting next to nobody. Biden says he doesn't think there will be a lockdown needed for now. I think that's pretty obvious just because for the Omicron thing, because we don't know shit about it.
That's what he keeps telling people.
Everybody got to get off Twitter a little bit, read some valid news sources, take a breath. They're still trying to figure it out. It might be a couple of weeks before they even know if it, like the scary stuff that they said it could do. It might take a couple weeks to know if it can do those things. Right. You know, we have some anecdotal evidence that it's not making people as sick, which would be a godsend because most of the people that are getting sick with it are unvaccinated still. But yeah, I mean, it might be some good news around the corner if we just kind of take a deep masked breath away from other people and just wait it out. Like, let's not jump to fucking like, it's gonna kill us, man. Game over. Like, stop doing that shit, man. You're panicking.
Why don't you put her in charge, man? Yeah, I think I'll just enjoy as always the sad, evil theater of like conservative news, which is mock Omicron as like a fake thing. So they start with that, which is like great. The other, I think that guy Ronnie Jackson, who's a member of Congress, who was like Trump's lying doctor. He said, "Oh, it's the midterm," like basically claiming that this is made up to like affect the midterms. And then what'll happen is if this thing turns out to just start running a train on MAGA people, then they're going to go, Joe Biden said he was going to get rid of this. And that's what they've been doing. That's been their whole line of,
yes.
They spent the whole time going, don't wear your mask, don't get the vaccine, enjoy freedom. And then when COVID hangs around, they go, Joe Biden said he was going to get rid of this.
Dude, the other day I was watching, I was trying to fuck with Karen. She was sitting on the couch and she was just chilling. Cause I don't know why, but I've been having this great idea ever since Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving challenge for Black people. Go to, and you can do it for Christmas now. Go to your holiday dinner with your family or whatever, and then say, hey man, can y'all change it to Fox News and just see what happens? Record the reaction, post it on TikTok. Now we got a challenge.
You might get beat up.
I put it on Fox News to fuck with Karen because she was just like sitting on the couch on her phone, not paying attention to the TV. So I was like, I'm gonna put it on Fox News and just pretend that I'm interested. And you couldn't tell the difference between them and CNN. These motherfuckers are like, get vaccinated. Okay, this is not a game. I was like, when did this happen? Had a
real doctor on now?
Like I must have just caught it like right before it switched to Tucker Carlson or something. Because I was like, I didn't even think there were people on that channel allowed to say that.
Lawsuits, baby, lawsuits.
They treat real news like a pharmaceutical disclosure, right? Like they have to tell you like the stuff they are obligated to say, and then they're like, but if you don't feel any of those experiences, enjoy the sarcastic racism of Tucker Carlson.
Yes,
coming up next.
Tucker Carlson goes off, and then some deep voice man starts talking real fast. The views of Tucker Carlson, you may experience side effects like this: COVID, ivermectin use, shit in your pants. A Houston man scammed $1.6 million in COVID-19 relief money. He's headed for prison for fraud and money laundering.
No shit.
Yep. A judge sentenced
white.
Nope, you're wrong. He's Black.
30, that's a lot of money.
30-year-old Lee Price III to 110
Not
months.
Lee Price. His price
was too high. The price was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can show you on my screen. Let me see. I can show you what he looked like. This is him there.
Ooh, because one thing you don't fuck with is the money.
Yeah, he fucked up, man.
1.6 million. Yes, you going to jail.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. He spent the funds. First of all, he got $700,000, then $900,000 for his companies, but neither company had employees.
Was that Houston? You said?
Yes.
Is that like maybe that's like a sequel? Like if Issa's barber leaves her to go back to Houston, that's how it ends.
We got some ideas. Back in Houston,
he's running the scam,
having an episode.
Yeah, this is why him and Issa broke up.
He spent the money on a $200,000 Lamborghini Urus, a Ford F-350 pickup truck, a Rolex, and other luxury items. The spending spree also included trips to Houston strip joints and nightclubs.
Ooh!
My tax dollars at work.
Come on. And you got some happy strippers too.
The feds say they seized $700,000 in goods and cash from him. He has a long rap sheet dating back to 2007 when he was a teenager. So, yeah, going to jail, man.
You didn't think they was going to come after that money?
See, if he was white, though, he would have like the "Catch Me If You Can" story, where it's like he goes to jail for a year, but then the feds hire him to like help monitor their distributions for fraud.
Yeah. They're like, can you help us find more fraudsters? He's like, I got you. And Leonardo DiCaprio could play me in the movie. But nope. Black people just go to jail. All right. Let's talk about some other news, y'all. CNN indefinitely suspends Chris Cuomo after text messages to his brother's top aide were released by the New York Attorney General.
Didn't he just leave the position?
You're thinking about his brother, Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, my bad.
Chris Cuomo works for CNN.
Oh, shit.
He's the news guy, and they used to have like these fake tiffs, like whenever he would have them on. And I think people like, I don't know, I guess people liked it. I always thought it was weird.
It's weird. I will say this. I actually think, because there's like a big difference in age between them, that the older, like they have like 3 sisters, I think, in between them. So like Andrew was already like working in politics when like Chris was like in middle school. But it was weird. Like I sort of think that Andrew Cuomo like really does think of him more like an annoying like son brother than like my brother that we hang out with.
It definitely feels that. I mean, like, I'm not saying, I mean, it's obviously a bit, right? Like, to some extent, because you're filming it for TV. But it felt a little too contentious for me. As a person that has a brother, I'm like, I wouldn't talk to my brother like that for entertainment for y'all motherfuckers.
I think it's a very old school kind of family, though, like back in the day where it's like if you had like 8 kids, you know, the 18-year-old would be like barely a brother to the 2-year-old. Like it would be just this different kind of dynamic naturally. But I think it's Chris Cuomo is fine to me, but I think, and I don't think he's done anything criminal here. I think the point is, if you're working at a news station, but then like working sources to help, it's understandable because it's your brother. Who cares about your job if you can help your brother? If you believe your brother, his innocence, and you can help him, you're gonna put your family over your job. But that's the problem. Is it's like, I think CNN should have just been like, you need to like give us your phone and like stay off the air for 2 months. No, it's not. We're paying you. It's not a penalty, but just for like integrity sake, we need a wall between this story. Like we can't. And if he was like accessing his CNN credentials and intel to help his brother, that's, you know,
that's a problem.
I don't think it's a crime, but it's not. It can get
definitely
you fired.
not ethical,
right?
And Letitia James don't play, number one, so already out. As soon as I said Attorney General, I was like, oh shit, she don't play. She been at the Trump ass too. And it's kind of weird, right? That you can find much more incriminating things about Trump and his cronies, but they really will fall on their own sword or deny, not cooperate.
Until they
it's only because Democrats and people that lean liberal have morals that shit like this matters. Because like if you found out that, like, I don't know, the Morning Joe shit, we did know. We knew that there were fucking people working for like Fox advising Trump literally. And it's like, well, there's no ethics over there. They don't give a fuck. Like suspend, no, promote. This motherfucker got an 8:00 show now.
No, it's the Braun thing from Game of Thrones. It's that you fight with no honor, and then he points to, you know, the dead dude who fell through the hole. He goes, he did.
Right.
Like, that's Fox News is like Braun is Fox News is like ethics advisor.
Dude, and it works. When Chris admitted to us that he had offered advice to his brother's staff, he broke our rules, and we acknowledged that publicly, but also appreciated the unique position he was in and understood his need to put his family first and job second. However, these new documents point to a greater level of involvement in his brother's efforts than we previously knew. As a result, he is suspended indefinitely pending further evaluation. Now, the good news about indefinitely that nobody ever thinks about is it doesn't mean forever. It definitely
mean the next second, and it could be 3 years from now. It could be next week.
Yeah, I remember there was a Duke game where like one of the players elbowed a UNC player and broke his nose, and it was like he's suspended indefinitely, and I was like, that shit's gonna be a week. Like
Tyler Hansborough, or was that after? Like he was the one who I think caught the elbow, or was that something different?
Hansborough caught the elbow, I believe, from fuck, that dude played here for a while. I hated that kid, but that like it was such bullshit. It was like, indefinitely, Coach K, one of your best players is done for the season. Nah, and the news all covered it on Sports Center and shit. Like, he's been suspended indefinitely. I mean, I don't know if he should be suspended forever. This seems like a lot, and I'm like, it doesn't mean that. What, am I the only one that knows what this means? Definition. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't as long, like a actual like he's fired type of thing. Because once you throw
it could be though, like it depending on how bad it is, because it's and I don't think they want to get rid of him. They don't want to, but like it depends how bad it gets, I think. So we'll see. Supposedly
he helped tailor his brother. He attempted to tailor his brother's response to the allegations. Please let me help with the prep, Chris told the DeRosa March 3rd after sending her critical notes on his previous press statements. So he's probably saying the same shit we were saying when we saw them terrible fucking statements. Like, why is he saying these things? You know, like the only way he loses his job to me is if we find out he's behind it. Like, put up a video of you touching everybody, and then say
when they got to go.
Yeah, when she asks you, like, is that your girlfriend? Say she's a girl who is your friend, but don't admit. Like, then he'll probably get fired. But if it's just him being like, man, this is terrible, he'll probably be okay. Let's see. Kevin Hart says he wants to become a billionaire to motivate black kids.
He can do it.
No
matter how people feel about him and what they think, he is still likable.
I think you know what this means. Some black capitalism.
Oh shit, remix.
My man Kevin Hart is one of the hardest working men in Hollywood.
Ain't he though?
And he just dropped a new thing on Netflix with him and Wesley Snipes. And it's getting rave reviews from all the blacks.
I've been hearing good things about it.
It's just like he never said those things. Yeah, he said, I think he's 42. He says by the time he turns 45, he wants to be a billionaire. When asked about it, he said, it's not about the money. Instead, he wants to motivate his young fans by having the title of billionaire. So, I mean, but the good news is you get the money, you know? So it's like, it's not about the money, but I'll take the money.
I'll take it.
You know, I like money, you know, that's not bad.
I wonder, I just find it, that's not, and it has not, you know, it has nothing to do with him, billionaire in general. I'm just like, how do you have that? Like, because it would be weird to me when these finance guys get $1 billion. I'm kind of, or you know, it's like, yeah, you didn't live a normal life. You're just some dude. You have security. You make your money. You go to your private jet for your power meetings with presidents and CEOs, but you live in like some shadow world. To me, it's weird. Like if an athlete or a comedian becomes a billionaire, because it's kind of like you do live in this. You are kind of like out there a lot. And I hate to say it's like one of those things where I'm like, I would feel nervous, like being a billionaire. Like I'd be like, that's a lot. Not even forget being like, nobody should have that much money. I'd just be like, that is a lot to be owning and like walking around.
And it depends, because you know what? They also live in a world where people look at them like you're broke bitch. So they're like, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the billion, because, you know, they're looking at other people around them cracking that mark, and they're going, well, I can crack it too. I think I'm talented enough to make the money. So for some people,
I don't think it's about the belief thing. He's talking about the safety.
Safety, yeah. Because it's just
okay.
Like Mark Zuckerberg has like security. He has like a fucking compound he has to live on. Like, he has kidnapping insurance and all kinds of crazy shit. So I could get that point of being scared to have that much money. It's, you know, it's I know he has a lot of terrible things to say, but one of the jokes that I thought was great in one of Chappelle's stand-ups, not the last one, but like a couple before, we talked about having that money in his backpack. And then he realized like what it was like. He's like, he said, now imagine if I was walking around with some pussy, like that, like women must feel this way all the fucking time. Like, and I was like, what a great fucking analogy. Too bad you can't make that about other things, but yeah.
But Kevin Hart, like to me, I think people have always confused my hating on Kevin Hart's stand-up with me hating on Kevin Hart. Now, I'm sure he wouldn't like to hear that. You know what I mean? Like I understand that. It's not like I wouldn't do the dumb thing, which is to go up to him and go, Kevin, I love Jumanji. I loved you and Snoop doing the Olympics recaps. The stand-up, not so much. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? People love to do that kind of shit where they're like, the latest one, not so good. But I was a bit, why? Why did you share that?
Why did you do that?
But he, like, no, he has a lot of, like, I've always said, I haven't watched True Story. I mean, I'm so far behind on everything, but I like him in a lot of things. I just, when it comes to stand-up, I don't consider him to be like in upper level. I know he's upper level in terms of money and popularity, but I don't consider him to be like a top tier stand-up. But like the dude's been in like 5 things I really like. So it's like that goes into the billionaire pot.
That's the thing with him, man. I think he's a really good comedic actor. Like and low key, he's one of those people where it's like Sam Jackson, Will Smith, Denzel, where if he just plays Kevin Hart in things, I'm like, that's fine. Like that was good enough.
I'm content.
I've watched movies where they were probably bad movies, but I just liked him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then anytime he combines with like The Rock or something, one of those buddy cop type things, I'm always like, this is fun. This is great. Just keep doing this. I'm
actually getting more over, and I know this is as a caramel large man, I'm kind of getting over The Rock more than I'm over Kevin Hart. I think because I started as such a Rock fan that I'm starting to actually get like a little tired of his shit.
Yeah.
And especially and Kevin Hart never talks about running for president or wanting to be James Bond either. Like, I'm kind of like, would you stop? Like sometimes Kevin Hart is like in that mogul mindset and like doing different things. But I think he's still like, The Rock seems to be like, maybe you need to take 6 months off.
Yeah,
like,
Kevin Hart would never.
Both of you need to, but I feel like Kevin Hart will be fine if he doesn't take time off. The Rock, take 6 months.
Yeah, Kevin Hart got in that car wreck.
You know,
Kevin Hart got in that car wreck and had to take time off. And then the Rock got COVID and was like working the next week. Like it was like his whole family got COVID, and then he was like, the gate to my fucking mansion didn't work, so I lifted it off the thing, and I'm like, this nigga want to go to work too bad.
when I saw the preview for, what is it called? Red Notice,
yeah.
I laughed, and not in a good way. And it was like the first 15 seconds of the preview, I was just like, oh no, the Rock is rocking. Like he's like, I'm John Carter. What's up? Like I was like, stop, The Rock. Too much The Rock.
People are saying like The Rock need to be the next James Bond or some shit. I was like, do y'all hate James Bond? Do you not even get it? No, he's the opposite of everything that James Bond should be.
I think what Daniel Craig did, and I really enjoyed the Daniel Craig movies a lot, but I think they should do something. I think the point was Daniel Craig was like a different James Bond. Right. He was the physical. They should do something different again.
Yeah,
like,
go back.
Don't go, hey, let's get a bigger, more muscular dude to rip people up. Like,
right.
The Rock is like the Terminator. Like he's not a spy. He's like he walks in and like rips a dude's head off. And he's like, you're not gonna get pussy like that, James Bond. You're covered.
Right. Jail, he be breaking the gadgets and shit. They be like, you can't break the gadgets. I don't need the gadgets.
The appeal of Daniel Craig's James Bond was that he was uncouth and didn't know, like he wasn't doing it the smooth way.
Right.
You can't go less smooth than that. That was the extreme Bond.
Right. Now
let's bring it back in.
Maybe even you could go a little comedic, like if they really want to take a risk, a little comedic maybe, or something like a lighter, but do something different. Like The Rock would just be like, we took Daniel Craig's and multiplied it by 6 times. And then you'd be like, this is just a Rock movie.
Honestly, you know what I would watch is a fucking a James Bond that could do like kung fu and shit. I'd watch that because they ain't did that yet. You could get an Asian person to do it, and because there's plenty of Asian people with the British accent, and then I'd watch them whoop the fuck out of people with kung fu. I'd watch that. Do kung fu.
Some people mention that guy Henry Golding Isn't he the
Yeah.
guy from,
I'd watch him do it. He was Snake Eyes in that terrible Snake
Right.
Eyes movie, man. And
he would be great.
it wasn't his fault. Like, you know,
Mhm.
like it's like he was doing good enough with the kung fu. It looked sweet.
Mhm.
But
what
yeah,
about Daniel Day Kim, the dude from
I'd
Lost?
watch him do it too.
Because he's like
Now,
a
I don't know if he got
looking.
I don't know if he got the hands for it, but they can.
He is
fake
jacked
hands.
though. He is.
Yeah.
He is muscular. So
Yeah, they have the budget to fake looking sweet. You know what I'm saying? The key is to look sweet. There's nothing worse than just you get all excited for some kung fu action and then the choreography is stale and you're just like, oh, dude, come on.
the guy in Shang-Chi, because I just watched that.
Yeah,
Like obviously he had a stunt man, but is that a lot of that him? Like,
yeah, a lot of that was him, Simu Liu. Yeah.
That felt, and I mean this as a compliment. That felt like if Jackie Chan in his prime got to do a Marvel movie.
Yes.
Right?
The Marvel. Listen,
Yes.
this is why I get the fucking cinematic purist and shit. Yeah. All the fucking art house bullshit. Dude, that's why Marvel don't miss though, because they really put the time in on some Matrix shit. Like, we're not filming this until you look sweet fighting. We'll just fucking wait. We'll push the movie back. Whatever we got to do. Because what we can't do is put the fucking movie out and you look like that dude from fucking Iron Fist.
Yes.
And now
they remember Iron Fist. Never forget.
And now we're a laughing stock because we fucking gave somebody a chance and they're like, see, Marvel don't know what they're doing. And then you got the nerds from the other direction, the representation direction, that's like, oh, they would do this with the Asian film. Look how they got the Asian people looking stupid. It had to look sweet. Like, I forget what I was listening to, but somebody was like, I mean, it's basically like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and the fuck. I was like, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember, people like that movie. It made a whole lot of money. That was the floor for this movie. It got to look like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It couldn't just be Captain America, but he's Asian. That we're not ready for that yet. So I fucked with it. But yeah, you gotta look sweet. But shout out to Kevin Hart, getting to the money. We love
The Upside. Have you've seen The Upside? Him and Bryan Cranston.
Nah, not yet. I heard it's good though.
That is a really, like, to me, I think that's almost a movie. I know Kevin Hart has, like, he's trying to like inch towards that, doing drama. Like he's been doing other dramatic things leading up to True Story. But The Upside was like a funny drama. That movie, like, I sat in the theater and he said a line where he had like painted something and it wasn't very good. But he says to somebody, he goes, I did that. You think I'm the next Basquiat? And I laughed so because Basquiat, but he said Basquiat, and that's I think the hardest I've ever laughed at a Kevin Hart line. But no, he is. To me, he's an example of one of those guys that I go, yeah, I don't think it matters if you go. You may like stand-up, so you have to respect the fact that that's how he started, and if he likes it, he likes it. And if he has a passion for it, but if we were just to say, what are you best at? I'd be like comedic acting. Like without a question, like by a mile.
Thing, when he does comedic act, he's so good. I start smiling sometimes. He hasn't done shit.
Yes,
like they'll like in that fucking terrible Hobbs and Shaw movie. There's a part where he has a cameo, and they just
he was in that.
Yes, it was
surprising.
Such a great cameo because it was in no promotion. Nobody knows. You go see the movie, and it's like right when you're like, this is shit. Like, what the fuck was the point of this? Just fucking make up with Vin Diesel already.
Right.
And it pans over to Kevin Hart. And I'm like, oh, now we got a movie. The Rock and Kevin Hart and Jason Statham on a plane is a fucking movie. That could be the movie. We don't even fuck action, fuck solving the case. So yeah, I really think he's the best at that shit, and I love him in everything comedically. And but yeah, no shade to the stand-up. Dr. Oz announces run
shade to his stand-up. I just want to register my shade.
Well, I don't watch it. I don't watch it, so I literally have no shade. Dr. Oz announces run for Senate in Pennsylvania.
TV Dr. Oz.
TV Dr. Oz, and he's running as a Republican.
Of course.
Okay, so
I felt like I couldn't.
Am I the only motherfucker that don't know what the fuck this dude is up to? Because when I saw GOP, I was like genuinely like that. He's is it so? It's well known that he's a Republican, Karen, or
no? I'm just going because he's a white dude.
Okay, all right.
Well, I didn't know, but it made sense to me because there's a level of like TV, like he's like a TV doctor, but not working with like a news channel. So he's in it for the money. You know what I mean? Like he's like he's like the way Joel Osteen may be a positive dude and friendly, but that's a Republican. Like what he's doing is a Republican thing, using God or medicine as like a profit
Dr.
engine.
Drew.
These are going to be Republicans. And so it didn't surprise me, but it was like, you're running for it's just the running for Senate is the weirdest part of that to me by far. Like, why?
Yeah, man, that was so weird.
What's the point?
Like, I'm like, is Dr. Phil next? Like, he could be in Texas? Because I would watch that for the debates. I'm not gonna lie, Dr. Phil in a debate would be pretty good. I'm gonna tell you what you need to do.
Cash me outside. How about that?
You know, you ain't got the sense that God gave a bullfrog or some whatever those fucking
whatever
sayings,
phrases
those stupid ass sayings he used to.
You be like, who talks like that, sir?
My mama used to say, "You got a box of mushrooms, you ain't got none." I'm like, I don't know what that just saw.
I think we need to revisit Oprah's legacy. Like maybe she was too powerful at one point because she made like kings out of some turds.
Honestly, dog, we owe Oprah so much for not running because she would win. Like if she wouldn't win, she'd at least fuck up the Democratic side terribly.
Yes, she would.
Like we owe her so much. The restraint she had in like 2016 and 2020 to not just be like, fuck it, I'm famous. Y'all like me, you know.
It just shows she has more like she has sense. Like it didn't get to her clout and her money and her fame didn't get to her head the way it clearly does to other people. Because I feel like you've said this on the show, but other people have said it too. But it's like the Trump thing. It's just gonna open. Like now, anybody who just wants to will eventually run. Like The Rock or Joe Rogan within the next 8 years will run for president. Like like I would bet a lot of money on one of those. Like it just I don't see how it doesn't happen, which is weird.
He figured out
they go right for the presidency. Even Reagan got involved in politics and ran for governor.
Yes.
And
everybody else has had something prior to that. Yes.
He was like the way Clooney is kind of involved. You know how Clooney is always like kind of interested and like talking to people. That was like Reagan, and then Reagan ran for governor and then president. Whereas like now people are like,
like I knew how the system works.
Yeah, the way that the way Matthew McConaughey slowly just backed out, I was like, thank you. Because he was about to Mr. Peanut Butter this shit, for those of y'all that watch BoJack. And I was like, stop. What?
Yeah.
Don't you have enough? Just make movies. Do those weird car commercials that sound like perfume commercials.
They are the strangest shit ever out in the desert.
And leave us out of it, man.
Out
like
there ice fishing and shit. You be like, the hell is you selling me, sir?
And he wasn't even like promoting political opinions really in his interviews. They were all like, you know, man, I just think, you know, people need to come together and be friends. And I'm like, fuck you. That's not it's not a platform. It's not a policy. That's not you. If you're gonna get in this game, you got to be willing to say some shit that people ain't gonna like.
Right.
You know?
Right. And it's one of those things too, to where, like I say, Trump really fucked it up because it's like, oh, I can run and I actually don't have to have a platform. I actually don't have to have any substance. I actually don't have to prove myself. All I have to do is just show up and people will vote for me. And I think he threw his name out there and got such a negative response. He was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, at least Trump was dedicated to the racism.
But his book, McConaughey's book, sold really well. Let's not forget that there was a memoir or a lessons book he put out, and it like hit #1 and stayed on the list for like months.
Yeah. Well, you gotta have the difference between a book and running for office. You gotta be willing to say what policies you support.
No,
Like
but
the
I'm saying
book-
maybe
yeah.
it was all just
Look,
we sold the books. It worked.
yeah. They're like, hey man, you just went to number 2 on the bestseller list. It's like, okay, we can wrap this up. All right. Get out of here.
Yes, I had no intentions on writing.
USC athletics.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, the one thing I meant to say before, and then I won't interrupt the when we were talking about Republicans before, like how they have no ethics. I realized the people. I once tweeted a joke about this, I think, but I was like, if the Democrats got like Anthony Weiner, Elliot Spitzer, Andrew Cuomo, like Bill Clinton in a room, like that's the firepower they need. Like, in other words, those are the dudes. Like, I always think of Anthony Weiner, who obviously was like shady at best. I mean, he never assaulted anybody, but like it was creepy stuff, and like kind of like you got a screw loose to keep fucking up your life like with this. But he was one of those dudes who also would have probably just been like cursing Trump out from the House floor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Al
Like
Franken, there was a few of them, and they just
Al Franken, another like exactly like we kind of lost because we care enough.
Right.
That we like, it's literally like a Pacific Rim kind of thing where it's like we lose our like fighters because with that fighting personality comes a different type of uncouth aggression.
It's why I get very upset when I hear people mock Michelle Obama's go low high thing, because I'm like, y'all literally go high. Like, we don't have give me your example of going low, because you won't support if one of these people is a piece of shit, but they could win and they make good TV, and you be like, I won't vote for him. Al Franken needs to fucking go. And I'm like, I get that. I just admit that our side can't go low. Just admit it and then stick with the people we have. Like, the thing that people really liked about Obama was that he kept convincing everybody you could go high. Like, every speech, everything was always to our higher selves. It was never to like, you know what, today I'm gonna be petty. He was always like, nah, we can do better. We can rise. So yeah, that was such bullshit. But yeah, those people had to go because they're on this side. USC athletics department, University of Southern California, issued an apology after fans allegedly yelled "fuck the Mormons" during a game against Brigham Young University.
Is Brigham Young a Mormon school?
It's in Utah.
You can't do that.
Fuck the Mormons. The students chanted that during the game. It's directed towards BYU, and it does not align with the Trojan values, said a statement from USC. So they be careful when you go out there, J-L. I don't know who they are going to be playing at the Jazz, but it's getting ruthless when it comes to these people talking this shit. Okay.
Yeah, it is that, and that is one of those few examples where, like, I know Republicans think of themselves as like it's the biggest joke. They love the victim mindset. Like it's like erotic. It's like autoerotic asphyxiation. If they think they're being victimized, it like arouses them. But Mormons, and I think even South Park kind of acknowledged this with some of their jokes and with the Book of Mormon, they do kind of get shit on. And that's pretty rough. That's like, because it's a story, but if it was like Yeshiva University and they were yelling "fuck the Jews," that'd be front page of all the newspapers. Or if it was Howard and it was "fuck the blacks," it is kind of, it's like, this is the identity of these people. So that's a pretty rough. I get it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I was in college and I like leaned over to my friend like, we should get a fuck the Mormon shit. But I wouldn't actually get it going. But I'm not going to act like in a college mindset of being irreverent. You might not think it, but the fact that it was like a chant is like scary. That's kind of scary.
It's kind of wild, man.
Yeah,
like,
what about the Mormons that are actually at your university? Now they got to look around like, what the fuck is wrong with
now
y'all?
They know where they stand, Karen. Okay,
apparently so.
That's so fucking weird. Like, that's also one of those things where, like, it would never cross my mind in a million years to like join in on a chant. Like if I'd be at it takes me too long to join in on the wave.
It
Like when
had
the
to
fans
pass
like,
us
"Ooh,"
like 2
I'm always
times,
like, "What are
and
they
then Roger
doing?
was like, "What's happening?
What
here?
are we? What? No, why are we doing this? You know,
Why are we putting our hands in the air? Oh, we're doing the wave."
they should be able to like isolate who in the crowd said it. You know, just pull it to the side, like, "Oh, what was that shit you was talking?" But yeah, that's some wild shit. All right, let's move into getting close to wrapping up, guys. We've been having a great time. We always love having J-L Cauvin on.
Yay!
JL, I'll let you pick as a fan of the show. What do you want to do for the second and last segment? White people news or guess the race?
Are those my only two options?
Well, did you have another one that you would prefer?
Well, you know what's funny is that the song that has grown on me is, and I know you always, it's also funny when you warn Karen, it's going to get loud, Karen. LGBTQ news. But if you don't have it,
we could do that.
Because that song has, I guess, because it's not an everyday song. That's like one of those. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
It is my jam. All right, Karen, you know what it is. About to get loud. Here we go.
Let me see what you want to be. You better move your body. You better move your feet. And I want to groove. Show me what's cool. Riding Karen, baby. LGBTQ news.
We're trying to take us down, but we still around. We lit. We're trying to still shine, but we on the rise.
We lit.
But you can't do what we're about to do.
We lit.
Black guy who tips.
LGBTQ news.
Woo!
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that song has probably grown on me the most of all the new songs you've had in the last year plus.
It's a bop.
Ain't
It
it
is a
though?
bop. I can't like I'd love Do You Want a Funk and listen to it all the time, but man, I think asking the listeners to contribute was just one of the like, we got some talented listeners and it really lucked out for us. Because I know unpopular opinion with some folks, but I like all the jingles more than the old things we used to do. All right, Joe Biden's Build Back Better. Joe Biden's Build Back Better Act will give tax refunds to some same-sex couples.
Let's go.
Oh, this is the gay agenda at work here. LGBT couples who were legally married before federal marriage equality will be eligible for retroactive tax refunds in the most recent version of his domestic budget bill. The legislation includes a section that says that same-sex couples who were married as early as 2004 in states where marriage equality was legal would be able to file amended tax returns for every year they were married. Damn, getting to the money. The move would mostly affect couples who were married before 2010, as those married from 2010 on already had the access to the benefits. In 2013, the Supreme Court ruled that United States versus Windsor, that the federal government must recognize LGBTQ marriages in states that had legalized marriage equality.
You know what that is though, and they won't call it this because it's smart politics. Those sound like gay reparations.
It is gay reparations,
right?
Or as I like to call it, repurgations.
Yeah, exactly. And also the reparations for the gay people will make them gay, meaning happy. So there will be gay people getting reparations, making them happy, also gay.
Shout out to my man, Mike Kaplan.
But this will be another example. It's another example of sort of like, some people will hate this obviously, but also it will make more sense to people like, oh, well, that makes sense that they get like basically back pay for like what should have been legal. Anyway, we'll stick to the topic.
Yeah, it'll make conservatives mad about it, but I mean, and it's also that thing where like, not to get on him again, but when Chappelle says shit like they're getting all these rights that that it's happening too fast and black people don't get to do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, so when were black people in the last 10 years not allowed to get their tax credit for being married? Like that's like shit is still happening to gay people that is separate from race. And I don't know how you could begrudge them that as if, or how you can pretend that it's not happening that way specifically because they're gay.
I think the issue with that, because I've heard you bring that up, and I said something on my podcast, I think this week or last week, but it's I think what Chappelle's speaking to there, which is unfortunate, is gay people had no real recognition for centuries as well. Like, it may not have been the star of the show, that the trauma of the Black experience or the Native American experience, but the Black experience mainly, was front and center for obvious reasons. But it wasn't like gay people were walking around in the 19th century going, well, you know, at least I'm not Black. You know, I can live my truth and live my life. But it's like, I think any gay person would acknowledge, like, the path set by the civil rights movement laid a framework, a groundwork for everybody to get more. No gay person is going to be like, we did it. We did it in a few decades. What was your problem, Blacks? Right. No, of course not.
Get your shit together.
Right.
But he acts like gay people got invented with like the 1950s, and it only took them 60 years to get like all the rights. Yep. You know, and I think
keep in mind, them using that blueprint is literally saying that blueprint was established first. So it's, you know, it's like we got these rights first, and then we closed up shop. That's enough rights for everybody. The rest of y'all are relegated to niggerdom. But Blacks, we will take the progress from this point. Like, get the fuck out.
And Chappelle's language on this, I've said this before, but it's like, it's so. The way he talks, like, and I said this after that Broadway show, the way he talks about it, he sounds like a white dude talking about Jewish people and Black people when he talks about LGBTQ people. Like, he talks about that getting, you know, all these extra rights and all this extra blah, blah, blah. And then he also talks about, like, the power they had. You know what I mean? That sounds like somebody who was like an anti-Semite talking about Jews. If he had said that about Jews, like, you can't say that because they control everything. People would be like, you can't say that, Dave.
Right.
But he acts like gay people. Obviously, there's a lot of gay people in Hollywood, but he acts like they have like a special control, as if all the PC talk, like, if he hasn't paid attention, is the 1619 Project and critical race theory about gay people?
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who's like, that's like a centerpiece of a new struggle. It's not like that's being ignored and like the conservatives have let that prejudice go.
Right. And I think it just sucks because he can always opt out of the conversation by being like, well, I don't personally think bad things should be happening to these people. And I'm like, well, okay, but the people that do bad things to those people tout you. They, like, you're their hero. That should say something. Like, I'm with you for comedy's sake. I mean, JL, like, specifically, like, we're both pretty comedy purist people where it's like, yeah, some shit's gonna hurt people's feelings. Some shit is not gonna be funny to everybody. Sometimes
he had trans jokes on those first specials that I knew might offend, but I was laughing. They were funny jokes, but I wasn't going to demand someone not be offended just because I thought it was funny.
Exactly.
But then it veered into this, like, I'm giving you a lecture, like I'm going to actually break it down for you, and I'm going to get applause and instead of laughter.
And I think once he gets called out and pulls the, like, you know, no, I'm saying that like, trans kids should be able to perform in these sports. And like, yeah, but when Lauren Boebert or whatever her name is when that woman is on a stage saying you're like a boss and shit, you maybe step back from the ledge a little bit and be like, well, if I'm not with her, why does she think I'm with her? But whatever. Conservatives viciously mocked for banning Big Bird, Bert, and Ernie from their conference. And CPAC, they put out something that's a sign.
Why were they showing up in the first place? For the kids?
I don't think they were ever coming. I think this was a, like, look at us, we're making a statement against Sesame Street. And what I really love about this statement, it says government mandates, no thank you, with the white person hand clap emojis, which is stolen directly from Black people. I
appreciate you kept the hands white.
Well, that's in my joke about Black Twitter versus white women, and I do like a clap in it, representing exactly that. And why are Bert and Ernie there? Is that why this is an LGBTQ?
I don't even think they were coming. It just says not invited, but I would guess.
But it was Big Bird
they're
that got the
admitting that-
vaccine.
Right.
But I think they're just saying, and Bert and Ernie, you're gay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing to do with the vaccine. We just wanted to also let you know.
That's why I said
You ain't see what you do in Sesame Street.
That's why I said LGBTQ.
Right.
It's like they gay.
But they slept in separate beds like the Flintstones.
I would just take this as admission that they was gay. You know what I'm saying? I still think the most underrated thing on that show is the real gay couple is that old couple that goes to the
in the
theater.
balcony. Yes, I always thought them niggas was gay.
How is there no like these niggas gay movement? They are definitely two old dudes that go to the theater and just are
Statler and Waldorf.
Yes, they gay.
Yes, they be up in the balcony.
That's a couple, an old gay couple.
Yes, they've been together 50 years.
Oh man, they the best. All right, last one in this. Dave Chappelle's high school is gonna be renamed. The theater will be renamed after him, regardless of the fundraising contest outcome. So he went on his Instagram and made a post basically saying, if you don't want it named after me, then donate money, and then put a note that you don't want it named after me. And if you do want it named after me, donate money and say you want it named after me. And then whoever raises the most money, I'm still gonna contribute my whatever amount, but that'll be how we name the theater. And the school was like, no, like, you know, because I'm sure he didn't float that by anybody. And I think, you know, to me it's kind of sad, but I think it's content for him now. You know, it is kind of Joe Rogan-y where it's like the content creates more content. And so him going to that school, filming it, taking everybody's phones and like having a yell at the kids moment and then ending it with a kind of a hug, like, well, I'm yelling at y'all, but you know, I want to thank you and all this shit. And they're gonna film it, and that'll be content too. Like, I think it's all just content now. I don't know how much of it has ever been sincere. I don't know how much of it is sincere, even when he tries to play it sincere. Because at this point, I know when I'm a content creator. I know when you selling me something, this is for sale. Like, and it seems to be the only thing people are interested in with him right now. Because I ain't heard nobody tell a Dave Chappelle joke in a couple. Like, it's been, you know, even when the stand-up specials I thought were good, very few people reference the jokes. They reference this shit instead. So.
I think one of the things that I found telling was I posted a couple things about Chappelle this year, because it's like people don't seem to get. I'm not saying, like, people are saying I'm jealous, and I'm like, I mean, not really. Like, I don't even think I could never be that success. Like, this has nothing to do with jealousy. I think he's a great stand-up comedian. Like, this is something different. And then people with, like, many of the people, you can tell how they're defending it. They're not defending it as like, this was great comedy.
Right.
They go, one guy said, like, we can disagree, but the fact remains Dave made some good points. And I was like, see, that's weird. Cause like, you're defending, this is part of my point. And part of what you've been saying is like, right. You're defending it as like the serious content, not as like, cause I will say all the time, if this dude, like, it's so long ago already, like the Age of Spin and the one after that, like the Heart of Texas, I think, where he did like the chop off a dick and throw it on a table. Yeah. And I'm laughing my ass off. And then I read later that was very offensive. And I go, but defending that, like I would say, hey, you know, when I say that's what comedy is, like he's making jokes out of touchy subjects. That is the envelope that gets pushed. And those are the things we need to allow. Even if we don't like them, those are the spaces that comedians need to go. But when a comedian sits on his stool and kind of says, I'm going to break it down for you right now. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of the LGBTQ mafia. I think they are an organized crime. They are trying to destroy me as a proud black man. And you have like dudes in the crowd like, yes, this is what they do. And I'm going, this isn't funny.
Right. It isn't funny.
And I had a friend, and she killed herself, and it was very sad. So don't judge me because I had a friend.
Right. I had like, this is my trans friend. And it's sad because like that is the sleight of hand, because people will defend it as it's comedy. Anyone can get jokes. And you go, okay, all right.
And
Anyone
I
can
still
get
think
jokes.
he had funny jokes within
Yeah.
that whole chunk. So I
Yeah.
I didn't sit there going, no. Like
Right,
when he
right.
talked about the trans bathroom thing, that was funny about
Right.
like
The visual and all that shit. Yeah.
Yes.
But my thing with that is like, so for me, it kind of hurt those jokes, because it's like you're surrounding that joke by these very serious lecture points where you're the victim of these gay people who won't leave you alone or whatever. It's like, so this is all just transitioning back to like the hard hitting, not funny shit. And like I said, most importantly though, it's that sleight of hand of everyone can get a joke, and you go, okay, everyone can get a joke. I hear what you're saying. And then you go, no, neither here nor there. Do you happen to agree that trans people are lying and they're not really trans and da da da? Well, yeah, I agree with that. So I'm like, so what's the funny part for you? Because it sounds more like a sermon for you, or you were just amen, high five. It didn't sound like you were like, I was so entertained. It was a release of like, someone famous is saying what I think. And
it's
that's
very
not
Trumpy. It is very Trumpy. Like it really is. Like Trump does it about bigger groups of people, immigrants, Latinos, the blacks. So he does it in like a bigger way, and people, that is the appeal. Like, and it's like, but Dave Chappelle gets to have this. He's a great comedian. I would say they're two separate things.
Right.
Here he is, the great comedian. He will always be a great comedian.
Yeah.
And here's his thoughts on these things. Now, you don't get to like borrow from his great comedy to say that this is good comedy just because you don't get to like do a currency exchange. Like, if this isn't that funny, then I'm going to take it for what he's saying.
The thing I always go back to is, well, what could he say that would be transphobic to you? Or what could he say that was over the line? Because what you're really saying is, by the transitive properties of him being Dave Chappelle, he could never say or do anything that wasn't quote unquote funny or covered by being funny. I was like, that makes sense. Like, if because and the reason I know it doesn't make sense is because we don't have that rule for anyone else.
No.
If like if there's some people still mad Sarah Silverman did blackface on her TV show, you can't be in that group and in the fuck your feelings Dave Chappelle was making comedy. She actually was trying to make comedy, and you are like, there's nothing funny about that. Fuck her, she offended me. Okay, well, why can't you relate to that feeling in this situation?
And also, I think, to me, going back to what J.L. was saying about Trump, and this is how I truly feel when it comes to a lot of people defending Dave Chappelle about his non-comedy. Like, people talking about his comedy is one thing, but people just, anytime you talk to them, they want to argue with you about non-comedy shit. Mm-hmm. It's like a fucking cult. You're like, this man is at the top, and no matter, he can do no wrong. He can say crazy shit. He can do whatever he wants to, and we're as the audience is going to justify any and everything he does. We don't care if he hurts people. We don't care if he harms people. Our whole job is just to defend him and his existence. That's how that feels to me, because it makes no sense. Because like JL said, I'm trying to talk to you and have a conversation with you about comedy, and you want to make points about something that has nothing to do with the comedy.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, it's very celeb worship kind of response. You know what I mean? It's very working backwards. Like, I remember not that it's the same, but Britney Spears, there was like a thing where her like maid or somebody accused her of like hitting her and trying to like harm a dog or something. And people were like, how dare this bitch? Britney is trying to be free. Da da da. And I'm like, we're not even gonna consider if that happened, how fucked up. No, we like Britney. It's like we will work backwards into if Britney would have came out and said, I did slap that woman and kick that dog, they'd be like, well, that dog must have been biting her and the woman must have called her a bitch.
Right.
It's like,
it's everybody else's fault.
And so it kind of does fit. I hadn't even thought of it that angle, Karen. That's true. All right, let's wrap it up with some sword ratchetness, y'all. Okay, here we go. Got him again.
Every time. One day I hope he get away.
Of course, as soon as I click on this thing, it decides to load a pop-up. So
snap.
we'd love to see that. Let's just click on a different one then. A man who wielded a sword arrested but will undergo mental health treatment. A 45-year-old Battle Creek man who reportedly threatened to kill another man with a sword was arrested Tuesday but will undergo mental health treatment.
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, it was Battle Creek. I mean, it makes sense. Police were called around 1:05 p.m. to an apartment house, okay, where a 23-year-old resident said he was threatened by an older man. The younger man said he was on the front porch when the older man came out with a sword and said he was going to kill him. The victim was hit with a chair and backed away as the older man began swinging a sword at him.
Oh, shit.
The older man then went into his apartment. Nobody was seriously injured. Responding officers spent 30 minutes knocking on the man's door. And he must have been white.
Of course, 30 minutes.
The most polite. Sir, come on out. Excuse me. I'm not going to stop.
I have all day.
He asked, he wouldn't answer his cell phone.
Shit.
He ghosted the police. Members of the Summit Point Adult Crisis Response Team were called to the scene and spoke with the man by phone for about 2 minutes before he disconnected. The clinic,
he was not here for that shit.
I don't have time for this shit, okay?
And quit knocking on my door.
Just because I wielded a sword and beat somebody with a chair, you think I got all day? They were preparing to enter the apartment when he surrendered. He had already handed the sword to officers through a window. The man was taken to the jail on charges of felonious assault. He told officers he believed the victim was one of 10 men who had sexually assaulted him in the last several weeks. Although police said there was no evidence of any sexual assaults. So maybe he had like a mental break or something.
Yeah, that's probably why they was like, we need to evaluate you.
Police Chief Jim Blocker said the incident was an example of officers working with mental health experts to defuse the crisis. Well, that's true. That's maybe it's a bright side to this.
I'd rather you do it this way.
Yeah, because I mean, the alternative, the wood shampoo. Once someone
that always makes me laugh. I still don't know what it means, but it makes me laugh.
You get hit with the wooden clubs on top of your head like shampoo.
Oh, okay. I just know it's something they beat you with. Now I didn't know the meaning behind it. Thank you.
Once someone
lesson, y'all.
Once someone is in custody, officers must decide if it's safe for that person to go to the hospital. He said, or if it's a better decision to stabilize this person and get them to county, arrest them, and take them to jail to stabilize them and pick them up and take them to a recovery center, which is what we did in this case. What is the next best move to get them into the best glide path for care? Oh, this is a woke cop. Motherfuckers using all the buzzwords. He says, we are getting better. The key is having understanding for the officers when we get there. In this case, it was working. Only about 1% of people go to jail in such incidents, he said. A decade ago, they all would have gone to jail because we have seen some violence and we would have acted. We would have seen some violence and we would have acted. It is not the preferred option. Shout out to this cuddly ass cop. Need more like him. Sound like the cops from Demolition Man, Demolition Man, that is the best Republican propaganda movie in hindsight. Yeah, like the cops got nice, and then one black guy showed up and fucked up the whole world. And that's why you gotta beat niggers in the past. If we had a time machine, we would never took our foot off their necks if we had a time machine.
Always choose violence, whites.
We switched from toilet paper to seashells, and now look at them running the goddamn country. J-L, man, tell the people where to find you and where to find the tour dates.
Yes, thank you. JLComedy.com, J-L Cauvin on Instagram and Twitter. 2 podcasts every week, Making Podcasts Great Again and Righteous PK, both on iTunes. But everything can be found at jlcomedy.com, calendar, podcast, video links, all that. And just to quickly recap, December 9th, Pittsburgh, December 16th to the 19th, DC Improv, January 7th to the 8th, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, January 27th, Chicago Improv, February 2nd, San Jose Improv, February 6th, Flappers in Burbank, California, and February 10th, Wise Guys in Jordan Crossing, which is just outside of Salt Lake City. And then I'll just be in my Toyota Club seats, like 8 rows back for the Utah Jazz Orlando Magic on February 11th.
Get some of that comedy money to use. I love to see it. Okay? It was Giving Tuesday, but don't forget to give to yourself a little bit, you know? I love to see it, dog. And someone asked a question in the chat, which is there an app for this live show, or can you only catch it on the web? There's a Crowdcast app. You can get it on your phone. You can watch replays there. So just get the app and log in.
Yeah,
and
the app will give you updates. Like follow the show, and whenever we go live, you will get a update through the app.
And go check out J-L Cauvin if he's in your area. You can go see him, man. Very funny dude. We had a great time when we got to see him in person.
Yes, he is worth every
so
dime.
Hilarious. Check out his albums. The albums are all great. And if you can't make a show, go on his Facebook page and be like, are you coming to my house in my city? And when I get off work, like, be very specific, you know, like, oh, I can't make it to Salt Lake, but can you come to Colorado off of 3rd Street at 2 a.m. and see if he'll go. He might do it.
One thing I will say, one thing I do enjoy. Somebody said, come to North Carolina soon. I was just there. Thank you.
He's just there. He's just in Raleigh.
Yeah.
He's just in Raleigh.
What I do enjoy is when somebody had done this to me, and I will never forget it. Like when I went to Boston, I sold a ton. I did really well in Boston, so it felt really good. But I never forgot that the three people who pestered me the most to come to Boston, 0 for 3. And like I remember I posted that I was coming to Boston, and then one of the people was like, I want to go. And I wrote back half sarcastically, but half seriously. I was like, then buy tickets. And this person was like, maybe I will, LOL, and then didn't. And I was like, every time I announced I was in Connecticut with gigs, this person was like, when's Boston? You got to come to Boston. And then I was like, I'm coming to Boston. No. And everybody, the 3 people I remember who bugged me the most, like every time I was somewhere like 50 miles away or 100 miles away, they were like, oh, I can't do that, but I'm there for Boston. A lot of people showed up in Boston, but not one of those 3, because then they were like, I heard the show was great. I was like, you heard? Because I said it on social media. What do you mean you heard? You read my post? Like, what do you mean you heard?
Extra. and like your mind works a lot like mine for this, which is there's no extra credit for wanting to come.
Yes.
Saying you'll come and then not coming. There's only negative credit. You can, and
you said it on your show, like we said it like the same week, like a month or 2 ago, where it was like, well, with your show, with your birthday show, where you said, if you can't make it, it's okay. But if you tell me you're not making it, then I get like 10 messages, even if I sold 100 tickets, all I'm seeing is 10 people going, can't make it, but good luck. And I'm like, is anybody going?
Right.
I'm in a. Should I cancel this shit?
I'm sensitive about this. What are y'all doing?
And I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, we still doing this shit.
Yeah, but it's just I don't like it. I don't like it's like adding a negative to a situation that doesn't need a negative. It's like if, hey man, I'm gonna get married. Well, I definitely can't make your wedding. Hey, well, fuck you. I didn't. What is this? What is happening right now? I wasn't inviting you exactly, but fuck you now. You know. Right. Yeah. Anyway, thanks JL for being here. Thank y'all. Thanks audience for having a good time.
Yes,
I know
this was fun.
People always love when you come on the show, man. Don't be a stranger. You ever need to promote anything,
let us
know. When the special drops, hit us up. And we'll definitely have you back. And yeah, thank you, audience. We'll be back. If we're not back tomorrow, we'll do we got Balls Deep coming Thursday, and we got the Nerd Off coming Friday. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. But thanks to y'all for listening. And go get ManScaped, code TBGWT. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everyone. Bye, JL.
Bye.